And welcome everybody to another episode of the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am your host Louis Sung, and I am also your producer for today as well. So if anything goes wrong, ooh, like that, Ron, ooh, like your
I
microphone
told
is
you, man. It's like I'm in the
your.
middle of a storm over here. We'll be lucky. You're gonna be producer, star, solo here in a minute.
All right. So for the time being, at least, we have my good friend and co-host Ron Caniff, who we're celebrating Victory Monday, and we already have the snark coming in here, Ron. Do you think you're Tyreek with them shades, man? Like you're rocking the Tyreek Hill look, I guess.
Man, if I could afford a pair of the Tyreek shades, whatever they are, I'd probably grab a pair just cause. Yeah.
No, and listen, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Tyreek Hill being one of the most important parts of it all, I'm sure. But before we get too far into it, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about our sponsor for this episode. As always, it is our good friends over at prizepicks.com. So this show is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the revolutionary fantasy platform where you pick up to 5 different players across professional sports leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB, one of each. Up to you to decide how you want to play it. All you have to do is choose the over or the under on those individual players' fantasy projections, whether it's individual stats, the classic fantasy point projections, which, by the way, Tyreek Hill, awesome stuff. And not only that, I finally won on my Prize Picks, guys, and it's no small feat. And I finally won. Yeah, I got $100 on my $20 bet from Prize Picks. Big thanks on the fact that Xavier Howard and Javon Holland teaming up to make Devontae Parker look stupid once again. And Mac Jones ended up throwing that interception I needed. And of course, with the free offer that Prize Picks gave me with Tom Brady, who only needed to throw 1 yard, he threw a lot more than that. So that means I managed to finally win. You can win too. Just go ahead and use the promo code 5. That's FIVE. And they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5, FIVE at prizepicks.com. We at the 5 Reasons Sports Network are proud to once again have them as our sponsors, prizepicks.com. All right. So plenty of stuff to talk about, plenty of comments to come in. It's finally time to say that the NFL season has begun. We are 1-0, Ron. We are 1-0. And we started off by beating a divisional rival. And I think Ron has disappeared because he is frozen solid. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove him for the time being. I'm just going to go ahead and run the show for again. Shades again, Lee Connolly. Yeah, you're going to see those shades because, yep, there he goes. Poof, gone off my screen. So Ron is in the middle of a thunderstorm. So he's having a few issues staying on the show. But that's okay because we've got you guys and I'm here still. And I'm running the whole show today. So if anything seems out of whack, it's because I'm doing the job of 3 different people. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into a lot of the stuff that you guys were saying up on Twitter. So let me just pull up the first one here. Because I asked everybody on Twitter, what were your thoughts after the game that happened on Sunday? So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I hear Ron is back. Oh, there you are. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Said, man, last storm. So like one of the top light in the world. So we did on a line here on the East Coast for work.
I'm going to pretend I understood what you said. It's like, oh, there he goes again. Okay. Yep, y'all are going to see the shades a lot today because that's pretty much all we're going to see is just Ron frozen in time. That's what happens when you get electrocuted too many times, I guess. So I'll go ahead and remove him just for the time being until he manages to get everything up and running. So in the meantime, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into these first things here. So like I said, plenty of stuff you guys have been talking about. One of the first ones was from Colin Wood, who I asked the question. Now, if the rush of emotions is worn off, how's everyone feeling? So Colin Wood says, much to improve upon, but I like that they are making corrections after a win. Plenty of positives as well. 1-0, fins up. I wholeheartedly agree with that assessment. Yes, there is a lot of stuff that happened that was really good. A lot of stuff that needs to be improved upon as well. One of the main things, of course, is making sure that our quarterback, the much maligned / much praised, depending on whose side of the aisle you're on, Tua Tagovailoa. So Tua Tagovailoa did some really good stuff, had some really good stats, especially for him anyway. He did make a few less than ideal decisions in the fourth quarter, some things that I didn't like so much. His mechanics were still a little bit off, but that can be worked on with time, and I am confident that they will get that going as he gets more comfortable in this offense on a regular basis. Remember, this is his first game of the entire year, and I just like the Patriots, because God knows the Patriots, they're going to do their thing. They always do. So they're going to be getting everything up in order. They're going to take some time to work out the kinks, because this is the thing that is getting brought up a lot, is that you don't want your starters to play in the preseason, but at the same time, just because they know things a little bit better than your backups does not mean they don't need that repetition. Like, there's just something different about being in a game that you cannot emulate when you're in practice. So the fact that now they're going to actually be in the games, now they're going to actually get to see and feel what it is like to run into people who are not the same guys they run into every single practice. Like Melvin Ingram, for instance, as good as he is, eventually the offensive linemen are going to get used to facing him, because it's always the same guy, same tricks, same techniques, same everything. And Matthew Judon, as Indade, by the way, likes to bring up, Eichenberg, among others, got handled. Dolphins offense need the offensive line to play way better for the run game and pass protection. That is a very big deal, and that's one of the aspects of the offensive line. It gets underlooked, or rather gets overlooked. So you have Teron Armstead, fantastic job. Connor Williams, aside from that first snap at the game, and by the way, it's already been established that the reason that first pass was not a touchdown and instead of short hopped in front of Tyreek Hill was because Judon actually did manage to get a hand on it, and he was able to completely change the trajectory of the pass. So all those people mocking Tua for that pass, stop mocking, because we've already proven you wrong. Like stats and facts and all 22, which Indade likes to bring up again, is like breaking down the all 22. So it's already been established. That pass was tipped. It very well could have been a touchdown. And would we be talking a completely different narrative if that were the case? Results always tend to favor whoever is doing the good thing. So if Tua does great, then everybody says Tua's awesome. If Tua does not do so great, obviously we're going to be trashing on him. And that's actually one of the comments that were brought up. One of the very first ones is a good friend of mine who is Mike Hernandez. He has his own podcast, which you can check out on his page as well. Tua has to stop doing his best impersonation of Baker Mayfield. So I'm not really sure 100% what he's referring to when he says something like that, simply because if in my mind, when I think of Baker Mayfield, I think of somebody who's trying to do things too hard, like he's trying to play hero ball. And while Tua does have a tendency to do that from time to time, I think that over time that will be like taken out of his game, if that makes sense. Essentially, he's going to learn to be the point guard that we need him to be. So what I want Tua to learn is I want him to take away the bad things that he does. I want him to learn when it's time to just go ahead, get down, take a sack, because I can understand. So yeah, there's Matthias. Baker is a major overcompensator, right? He's trying to do too much and he ends up making mistakes as a result. So Tua does not have the freak athleticism that someone like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen has the ability to do, simply because they are that amazing. Tua is the kind of guy who he needs to be, again, he needs to look at the field, he needs to be able to analyze what's happening, and then get the ball to the guy who's open, and then let them make a play. He's basically a point guard, for lack of a better term. And so with that in mind, when Tua starts to do too much, things start to fall apart. That's just not how his game functions. If he gets his mechanics right, and Alfredo Arteaga on the OnlyFins on Discord, which by the way on Patreon it's only $3 a month to be in there with that group, so that you can get exclusive inside information that can only be found on OnlyFins. So with that in mind, Alfredo basically said it. When Tua is on his game, when his mechanics are on point, he is Drew Brees. He can do all the things that Drew Brees did. He just has to get that fixed. And so one of the main things is that, and since Matthias is asking, when did he play hero ball? Well, basically, the idea of hero ball is when instead of like just taking it for what it is, take a loss, he tries to fix the problem. He'll like look around, try to find some magical moment that he can get it to. Like, for instance, that almost interception that he ended up throwing simply because he refused to, like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember there was one play specifically that I was screaming at the top of my lungs, just run for the first down. You don't need to throw that. And he still ended up throwing it, and he ended up, I think that was the one he was short hopping in front of Trent Sherfield. And so when he does stuff like that, he ends up making mistakes, and we ended up losing out on some plays. Use your legs. That's the one thing I'm going to say about Tua right now. And I'm going to welcome Ron back in here. Are we good to go, man? Are you here?
I'm here, but man, there's some serious lightning going on over here. So we'll see how long I last.
All right. Well, hopefully you can last a little longer to help me out here, because one of the things that I'm talking about right now is one of the comments that were made is from Mike Hernandez, who's a good friend of mine on Twitter, basically saying that Tua has to stop doing his best impersonation of Baker Mayfield, which that's the essentially what it is that Tua has a tendency to play hero ball one too many times. Like, instead of just taking what he can get, he tries to do something more than what he probably should. And then he ends up making a mistake as a result. Like, for instance, I was just bringing up the example late in the fourth quarter, Tua could have used his legs, gotten the first down, and instead he tried to take a shot to Trent Sherfield, and he ended up short hopping it in front of him.
Yeah, to the knock, I guess kind of the knock and kind of the good thing sometimes depends on Tua coming out of college was this guy like doesn't know what giving up on a play is. He just doesn't like to throw the ball away. He doesn't like to ever give up on a play. But for me, I think getting a first down, staying in bounds when you're up 27 with 1:03 left or whatever it was, is not giving up on a play. That's doing what you're supposed to do. So he was kind of taking it to a level he just didn't need to. There was just no reason. It just didn't make sense. I don't know if they were trying to run up the score a little bit. I'm not sure. Not sure what that was about. That was an odd play even for Tua.
All right. So now another comment that InDate is bringing up is that people have been indoctrinated into thinking quarterback are what makes the offenses go. It's the O-lines that consistently makes the offenses go. And I can understand that. That's the same thing I've been harping on for the longest time. And by the way, if anybody wants to immediately become the star of the show, all you have to do is just drop in a super chat. We'll immediately make you the feature of the show. And of course, you can always just leave a comment down below when you're liking the video as well. That way we'll be able to get some more traction on this show going forward. So like I said, the offensive line, that was one of the main things that is kind of a problem for the Miami Dolphins still, is particularly on the blind side. Austin Jackson, like, we all thought it was Teron Armstead that was going to get hurt, and he did briefly he was hurt, but really Austin Jackson of all people. Man, I was worried Austin Jackson was going to get Tua killed, and instead he ends up going down, and then Greg Little has to come in here, and then Greg Little gets hurt, and then Robert Jones has to go in to play guard, and Robert Hunt kicked out to right tackle. That's how ridiculous things got on the right side of the offensive line on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line was obviously it's a work in progress. We knew that going in, that it wasn't going to be perfect. It still seemed to be a little bit better against a decent, pretty good front seven. I don't know that there's much good about New England beyond their front seven, but on defense, but they are pretty good up front. So, they did okay. We'll see what happens against Baltimore.
And I think it's telling that Alfredo, because he has watched the All 22, and I know that because I'm in the OnlyFins. Once again, only $3 a month to get in on that, guys. Just go ahead. It's not that bad. It's not that much. So $36 a year for the best Dolphins content you'll ever find. I'm just going to say. So Greg Little played a completely clean game. I didn't see anything wrong with Greg Little either while he was in there, because I know he had to come out for another injury for some time. But like Austin Jackson, I noticed. Greg Little, I didn't notice. But with offensive linemen, it's a good thing when you don't notice, because 9 times out of 10, if you notice an offensive lineman, it's probably because you screwed something up. That's just kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to the offensive line.
I mean, the line was better, but I thought more of the issue, and I don't know. I know I missed some of the show, so I don't know if it's been discussed. I personally felt like, and I haven't gone back and I know a lot of people watched all 22. I don't watch all 22, but just from watching the game, I'd noticed that last year we ran a ton of RPO. This is just my observation. People may agree or disagree with it. Last year we ran a lot of RPO, right? So the run fakes, if you will, are not necessarily fakes. The decisions to not run and keep the ball. But anyway, that allows the quarterback to face the line of scrimmage. So when he's doing that, so if it's almost acts like a play action, right? When you seem like you're going to hand the ball to run, then you don't run it, you keep it to throw. It's almost like a play action, but now the play action is more the quarterback is actually, it's true play action. The quarterback's actually turning his body towards the running back, especially if you're, behind center, you're actually turning back, pretending to hand it to the running back. And then you have to turn back around. And it seemed the issue was having when Tua would turn back around, if there was even the least bit of pressure, he seemed to struggle to set his feet. It wasn't an issue with RPO. He's already facing the line of scrimmage. He's not getting turned around and say, oh crap, there's a dude there, or there's a dude coming. You know what I mean? Even if it was supposed to be, even if it was designed that way, like on a rollout, perhaps it seems like if there was a guy in his face, and I think CK had mentioned that when there was a guy in his face, like it was supposed to be there, and he still struggled to kind of set his feet. So I think that's an adjustment he's going to have to make from doing less RPO and more true play action. I didn't go back and watch tape to count how many times I saw that. It was just an observation I kind of noticed watching the game live. Maybe people agree or disagree with me on that, but that seemed to be a struggle for him. And none of that really has to do with the line necessarily. I think it's more Tua. He's just got to be able to set his feet a little quicker to throw, because when he sets his feet, he's really technically sound. But when he doesn't, I mean, we've seen what some of the throws look like when he doesn't set his feet. He's definitely not a guy who can just arm it. You know, he's just not.
Yeah, no, he needs to. He's a base thrower. He needs to be able to set his feet, torque his hips, all that wonderful stuff. Because again, he's not a rocket arms quarterback. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Justin Herbert. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He never will be those guys. And that doesn't mean he can't have a quality career like those guys. But just physically on a physical level, they're not the same people.
Tua can have just as good a career as a quarterback as those guys. It's just never going to look the same. And people are always going to complain about that. Wow. That was a good one, huh?
Yeah. It's like,
is that
that's you dropping the mic right there. That's you dropping the mic. Just,
yeah. Is that someone agreeing or disagreeing with me about Tua? Tua can have as good a career as Patrick Mahomes. Liar.
Lies and slander. All right. So next comment. There's something interesting. Basically, the reaction is from Jason Paul. The Pats were just bad.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess you could also play into that a little bit. Yeah, the Patriots were not good. And
they're not. They're not. And the Patriots knew they weren't going. That's what we said last week. Remember last week? I said the moment that Belichick did this whole, we're going to go Tuesday early, I was like, I knew we had him. I knew we had him. I knew that they knew we had him, that they were in trouble. They're just not a good team. If this team was coached by any other coach, or like say somebody who is not the quality of Belichick or Peyton or somebody who's like an upper echelon coach, right? If it were Andy Reid, something like that. If it's just your run of the mill coach, everyone would have the Patriots as like a bottom 2 or 3 team this year. They may be anyway. They could be that bad on offense.
So you're really not convinced in your boy Mac, like not even a little bit. Uh-oh, there he goes again. Oh God. All right. Wait, there you are. No, are you here? Are you not?
I'm back.
There you are.
It says I'm back, but I don't know. Even when I heard you say, he's gone again, I could hear you say that. But yeah, this lightning doesn't want to go away. Yeah.
Okay, so Mac Jones, not convinced?
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah, not at all. Yeah, that team's there. And what a mistake to like just kind of scrap whatever it was they were doing last year and not just try to build on that and say, let's run some. To me, I just wonder if it's just, I don't know what Bill Belichick's thinking. I don't care what he's thinking, really. It's not my team. That's Pats fans' problems. But yeah, I think they're in trouble. I think the Pats are I agree. I think the Pats are a bad team.
And it's kind of crazy because all this time, like Matthias has brought it up, is that Dan Orlovsky said that if the Patriots offense, we would make fun of it if it were anybody else other than Bill Belichick. So I'm inclined to agree on that, just because, again, the mystique of Belichick is what keeps the Patriots in the discussion every single year. It's that he's the best coach to ever coach the game. Lie. He has the ability to make everybody else perfect around him. Lie. And so it's, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the era of the Patriots is over. I think Belichick is in trouble, I think, of reaching Don Shula's record.
Absolutely. Because I mean, how long is Robert Kraft gonna wait around for the team to try and rebuild when they're going in the wrong direction and Belichick's like 70 and they're gonna have to draft another quarterback again, in my opinion. They need to find somebody that can draft better than Belichick. He's been terrible. Okay, but I know we're talking about the Patriots too much. I know we just played the Patriots, but it's not a Patriots show.
No, it's not a Patriots show, but it is funny to talk about because, like, every once in a while you just need to be able to dunk on them,
Oh, I mean, I'm hoping next offseason, maybe we just do a whole episode about how bad the Patriots were and why, and how much we can just enjoy that. Even as collectively, if we're ever collective as Jets, Bills, and Dolphins fans, we can all collectively enjoy the demise and downward spiral of Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I know I will.
No, for real, man. All right, next comment is from Tom. If we rise up and take the Ravens, I'll feel much more confident than I do now. So it's an interesting topic because on the one hand, yes, we beat the Patriots handily. It was 20-7. That was the final score, if I remember correctly. And so that's a 13-point win. That's 2 scores. You would think that would be a good enough lead, right? We feel good about everything, but no, we're still skeptical. We're still feeling like, can this team really get far enough on just the back of Tyreek Hill? Can this team really make it to the playoffs if Tua doesn't look perfect? And I do mean perfect every single game. And that's kind of what the expectation is now, I feel like, because we spent all offseason hyping up this offense to be the fastest team to ever walk the field. And there were some times where it still felt like the Dolphins were struggling to get the ball going. But I feel like that has more to do with the blocking than it does with anything else. So Tom is basically saying if we can take down the Ravens, then there's a lot more reason to feel confident about the season than with this subpar Patriots team. Like, what is your impressions of the team, just this overall impressions of the team watching the Patriots loss?
My big takeaway from offense is that, I mean, we had 8 drives, and we only made it to the red zone once, and that was the last drive of the game, which is a good drive, by the way. It counts. It matters to keep the ball and drive and not let them get it back. And, you know, we did that a few times last year too. So that's good. But Tua statistically is one of the best red zone passers in the game, not just now, but over like a 25-year statistical analysis. I'm sure you might have seen it. I think there's some stuff from Sharp Football. I know CK has talked about it some too, from 3 yards per carry, if you didn't know who I was talking about. He's one of the best. So my whole thought, and I was talking about this a lot going into the season during the summer, is if we could get those red zone trips up by like 20-30%, I mean, Tua's going to feast. He's, you know, statistically, he's going to be good. And offensively, we're going to be a very good team scoring a lot of touchdowns. But we only made it to the red zone one time. I mean, maybe that's some kudos to the Patriots and their defense, but we got to do better than that. One trip to the red zone in 8 tries just isn't going to get it done. So I get why people are concerned. That's a concern for me too, to be honest, that we only had 1 red zone trip the entire game.
Matthew Judon made the offensive line look pretty subpar.
Well, he's a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, they have individually some good players. I just think overall as a team, they're not good anymore.
So good pass rushers are going to cause problems for the Dolphins moving forward. And Tua is just going to have to learn how to deal with having that pressure. And I really feel like, and I harp on this so much, Ron, you know I do. Every year I harp on this. And it feels like every time he does it, I feel like I'm proven right. Did he or did he not, Mr. Caniff, Mr. Alabama man himself, did Tua not use his legs a significant amount when he was in Bama?
Yeah, I mean, he used it more than he's using them, than we're seeing now. But
did that not make a difference in the game?
Running around out there taking shots. I mean, he should have ran on that 3rd down.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Is like that's what I'm problem. And that was kind of a problem I had when Tannehill was doing this thing when Adam Gase showed up, because it's like all of a sudden his willingness to run the ball just went down the toilet. Like, that makes a difference. Ask the Buffalo Bills how effective it is when Josh Allen can just pull it down and take off like a shot at any given moment, how defenses are nervous about that sort of thing. Lamar Jackson, him running the ball is half the offense. And then Patrick Mahomes, on top of everything else that he does, even if you do manage to cover all his receivers, there's still the possibility that he's just going to run it and do it himself. And defenses have to be wary of that. If Tua is planted where he's at, defenses are going to take that into account. It almost feels like Tom Brady is like the last exception to the rule, because every other quarterback in the NFL, including Aaron Rodgers, anyone who's successful will run with the ball, even a couple of times, just to keep the defense honest. Tua has to do the same thing.
We've seen him do it before.
Right, but he's not. He doesn't seem to want to.
I don't think he wants to. No, he wants to throw the ball. I mean, I hate to be this way. We're going to go to Bama. You think Tua's bad, man, and anybody who's watching Bama football last year, Bryce Young, oh my Lord, he's like the worst I've ever seen about not running the ball and just trying to always throw it. He's like 2 times 2 when it comes to that. But yeah, we need him to run the ball a little bit more. I agree. Keep the defense honest when you can, run the ball a little bit more. But I don't know that they're going to call any running plays for him.
No,
It's
I don't
all
need him
gonna
to, but that's what I'm saying. I don't want them to call designed plays. I want him to say, oh, this play's busted. Let me see if I can make something happen here.
And he should do that too, because we all know, even as Tua fans, that he has to throw within the offense. He is not, what's the word I'm looking for? A guy who's going to be able to just kind of make something happen that's outside of the offense, like run around and then just make that throw. He's just not going to do that. He has to have his offense is going to be within the offense, the plays and within the routes that are supposed to be run. So I don't really want him improvising. That's the word I was looking for. It's such a simple word, I couldn't remember it, but I don't really want him trying to run around and then improvise a throw. I'd rather him improvise and run. I just think the whole, like, think about it. We're not sitting here talking about the one hop to Sherfield right now. If he just does what he was supposed to do, and that's run it the 3 yards and slide in bounds, or even if he went out of bounds, not the end of the world. It's not like the game was over. We're going to win anyway. You got the first down, but that's all you got to do. So I'd like to see him when he feels the urge to improvise. I'd rather just see him just run the ball, get the few yards, get the 3, 4, 5 yards, slide down, be done with it. I don't want to see you improvising and trying to throw it, because almost every single time he does that, it's an incomplete pass. Am I right? Like, if we went back and we even thought about it last year, when you think about all the times Tua started running around and improvising, yes, I'm sure there's an example or two. What about the Arizona game that we're still talking about, the Arizona game from like 3 seasons ago? I'm over talking about it. I understand that he did a little bit of that in that game, but mostly if he has to improvise, I'd rather him just run. He's just not a guy who's going to be able to run around and just flick the ball. It's just not his skill set.
Nope, not his skill set. All right. From Jason Verified, I feel like the offense didn't look great, but to win comfortably like that with the offense struggling felt amazing. So that's actually an excellent point, is that we all know that the offense did not look like what it was supposed to, right? Like, we can pretty safely say
it didn't
the
look
offense,
like how we wanted it to look.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
Mike McDaniel even said, even when the game really wasn't going how we wanted it to go. Well, I doubt he was talking about the defense. I'm pretty sure he was talking about the offense when he said that. So even the team realizes that's not what they were looking for.
Oh, no, yeah. They need the offense to be, and he said it straight up. This is still the defense's team until proven otherwise, which in and of itself is not a bad thing. I love the idea of having a crazy powerful defense, because at the end of the day, you can have all the offense in the world, but if you can't stop the other team, eventually you're going to make a mistake on offense. So you need to be able to have a defense that could get the job done. So on that aspect of it, I'm quite happy with the defense still being the star of the show, because that just makes other quarterbacks look like they struggle, and that gives us more opportunities. Xavier Howard and Javon Holland, once again, thank you so much for getting me my prize picks for the day. It's like I finally won one, and all because I was trusting that Mac Jones would do something he shouldn't have, and that thing he did was trust Devontae Parker. Why on earth would you trust Devontae Parker?
One reception for 9 yards. What a comeback game.
Exactly, right? What a revenge game. It's like,
and how long is that guy gonna last? He played 100% of snaps. How long do they think Devontae Parker is going to last the season playing 100% of snaps?
Yeah,
Not very long.
He won't make it that far.
He won't make it past week 4 or 5.
Yeah, I really don't think that's going to be happening. In date again, Tua throws arcs down the field. Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, etc. throw lines. When Tua throws downfield, it needs to be space with even the DB. Well, that's a lot of quarterbacks, though. Again, we can't compare Tua to the ridiculous physical freaks that are out there playing quarterback right now. Josh Allen is not human. Patrick Mahomes is not human. They're cyborgs. They're not real people. Like, if you touch them, I'm sure you're going to hear like clang, clang, clang. It's like they're not human underneath.
I agree. I mean, if you look at, like, Peyton Manning was never like a big time thrower of the football. Almost seems like Brady's arm has gotten stronger over the years, but it's never been an arm that I thought about as really strong. Obviously Drew Brees is the example in the comparison to Tua. Can he be quote unquote Drew Brees? But none of those guys have real strong arms. Lots of people have to do it cerebrally. Is that the right word? That's hard to say.
That's not bad.
And that's fine. That's the way Tua's going to do it. Tua has the skill sets to be a really good quarterback in this league. It's just never going to look like those guys. I'm so tired of hearing about it. Like those guys don't play for us. No one's going to give them up for a second round pick. Just enough with those guys. They don't. Yes, they don't look. He doesn't look like Herbert, Allen, and Mahomes. I'm sorry. What do you want Miami to do about that? There's not. There's a lot of teams out there winning a lot of games, getting pretty far in the playoffs without guys like that. Period.
And by the way, they make mistakes too. I said it in the postgame show. Justin Herbert short hop to pass, and he supposedly has the strongest arm in the NFL. So what do you say to that? Remember Jay Cutler? Remember when Jay Cutler was here, Ron?
Yes.
And we were talking about how Cutler has a cannon and he can just be flat-footed and throw it like 60 yards down the field because he feels like it. He short hopped how many passes?
And by the way, you guys want a quarterback with a cannon, but when we had, and you guys can yell at me all you want, but the dude has an absolutely very strong arm. We had Tannehill for years. He has an absolutely very strong arm. Y'all don't want to admit it, but he does. And you guys weren't happy about that either. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on. The Dolphins fans are never happy with the quarterback.
Yeah.
If Herbert was here, they'd be complaining. Because then Tua would be in San Diego, and they would be like, oh, my God, they're so stacked. Tua's going to bring him this, that. We got Herbert. He can't get to the playoffs. He throws all these picks. He's not a winner. I mean, I tell you, that would be the conversation. They wouldn't even be talking about how strong his arm is. We should have drafted Tua. I swear this would be the conversation right now.
I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting philosophy. It's an interesting game to play. And also, Carlos Ortega pointed out, how did Russell Wilson look yesterday throwing downfield? Weak armed.
Yeah,
weak armed.
Mahomes threw 2 passes that were completed over at 15 yards or more, and one of them was like 15 and a half. The other was like 22 air yards.
So
come on.
It happens, man.
And he had one of the best. He had probably the best game of every quarterback. It is not essential that quarterbacks have to throw the ball 65 yards. So ridiculous. Stop watching ESPN. There's a 5 Reasons Sports Network has content about the Dolphins almost every single day during the season. Subscribe, put YouTube on your Roku, and when you feel the desire to turn on ESPN, don't. And go to 5 Reasons and just watch the Dolphins content there. Please, for everyone's sake, including your own.
Great plug there, Ron. Awesome. I love that. Do that more often. All right, let's go to the next comment from Michael Wilson. The run game and protection are still a concern. I don't see how they'll be able to beat Buffalo unless they improve those 2 things. I would have to go over that. I would have to agree with that, because we saw Buffalo, right? And as much as we want to say, oh, Josh Allen makes mistakes too, Josh Allen is, again, a freak of nature, man. Like, I can't see, like, with the way the offense looked against New England, if we put out that same exact offense against Buffalo, I feel like it'd be a different result.
Well, I got to be honest with you. In my opinion, if we put that same offense against Baltimore, it's going to be a different result. I mean, we haven't gotten to our picks yet, but, I'm not feeling great about going into Baltimore right now. That's just my opinion. Okay, I know many will disagree.
All right. So what is it about Baltimore that's number 1 on your list of concerns?
Man, they're a different team at home, especially when Miami goes there to play them. I mean, I understand that what we've done in other games, that doesn't matter, but it kind of does matter. And Lamar is going to be looking for a little revenge after what we did to him. Last year, 35 0 blitz looks. That's insane. I'm just concerned that they're going to try and give him all those same looks, and that he's going to figure it out a little bit more this time. And I'm just not sure that our offense is where it needs to be yet. I would just wish that this stretch wasn't this stretch, right? If instead of Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, it was like Houston, and then maybe the Pats again, and then the Jets, I'd feel much better about it. And then I'd feel like if Baltimore was like week 5 or 6, I'd be like, okay, the offense is starting to figure things out. We're going here. We're rolling a little bit. But unfortunately, we just have some really early tests. So we got a nice little break playing the Patriots. But now we're playing some real football teams the next 3 weeks. Just a little concerned that our offense isn't quite ready. And, those teams are going to be tough for the defense to just hold to 7 points. Not that we had to hold New England to 7 points because we scored 20, even though 7 of it was from the defense. But, I'm just concerned that the offense isn't quite there. It's going to take some time. I mean, even Mike McDaniel said, everything he saw from Tua in practice, he didn't necessarily see all the same things in the game. He saw some of it, but there were times where it didn't always look like it did in practice. So it's a matter of getting practice Tua onto the field. I think they will. I just don't think it's going to be an instant thing. It's just going to take a little time.
All right. So now one of the things that I want to bring up is that Kyler Fuller is out for the season for the Ravens.
Yeah, that helps us, obviously.
Yeah. So do you think, what do you think that the team can get everything up and running? Like here's an interesting one, because this is something that I'm going to pull up now. This was from Mr. Stubborn. That's an interesting name there. We'll have concerns with the offensive line in the run game, obviously. Stop the run, because New England was pretty effective at that, at least at first.
They were effective at it the first 2 drives. And then the Dolphins adjusted and they weren't effective anymore. But before the game, even days before the game, Mike McDaniel said, we don't know what it is that they're going to do on offense. We have no clue. They were pretty much hinting to look, they don't have a fullback anymore. They've always had a fullback. They only have 2 tight ends. We really don't know what they're going to do. So we have to take our best guess. And after the second drive, we'll make adjustments. And that is exactly what Miami did. And it was effective.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
The Patriots were only successful running the ball the first 2 drives because Miami really wasn't sure what they were going to do. They made adjustments and it was done. They shut it down.
But here's something that wasn't adjusted to, and this is something that I do agree with Mr. Stubborn on this one. A non-existent pass rush without a blitz.
Yeah,
without a blitz.
It's a concern. It's a concern because and you could see frustration in Jalen Phillips. There was one shot where I don't remember why he had the ball in his hands. It might have been after a fumble. I don't think he was.
No, he recovered a fumble. He
recovered the fumble. But you could see as he was walking to the sideline with a fumble, you could see pure frustration in his face. He was frustrated that he wasn't having the performance he expected to have, in this game. So I hope that motivates him because we see Ogba can get there. We need Phillips to get there too, man.
He may get his opportunity because according to Alfredo, they lost their left tackle. Now they're down to their 3rd string left tackle. Listen, if Jalen Phillips, if that's the case, he should absolutely send Lamar Jackson running all over the field, because Jalen Phillips in the preseason was a dominant force and absolutely a menace to society for every offensive line that he faced. So if the Ravens are down to their 3rd string left tackle, there's no reason Jalen Phillips should not put on a clinic on Sunday.
Well, is it Jalen Phillips, or is it going to be more Ogba?
But Ogba usually rushes from the right.
But remember my guy too. Remember who did I say last year were going to be my 2 players that were going to shine in this game? I think I got on for defense and offense. Do you remember who I said?
Are you talking about last week?
Yeah, last week. Who did I
Melvin
say
Ingram.
ahead of the game? Melvin Ingram and Jalen and Waddle. Waddle really wasn't the star, even though he had the 4th and 7 touchdown. Hill was more the star at wide receiver, but Melvin Ingram actually showed that he's not just there to be on the roster and be some depth. He's there to be a starter. He's there. So I'm just interested to see what that looks like as well. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of Melvin Ingram. I think he's going to continue to be disruptive and be a force, which really helps, especially if Phillips isn't really getting off. Phillips seems to be like a matchup guy. He seems to have games where whoever's trying to block him, they're really struggling the whole game, and it's Phillips all day. And then he seems to have games where he just disappears and he's just erased by whoever's blocking him one-on-one. I think he'll get better as time goes on, but this was one of those games again where he just got erased. He just really wasn't there, but we had other guys. We have so much talent up in that front 7 now, much more than we're used to. We were always like, oh, good secondary. Yeah, linebackers, but that linebacking course, but especially outside linebackers, they're good. they're definitely good, and they're gonna get there. So, and I think he will too. It's gonna be matchup to matchup.
All right, and now I want to bring this up because Jeff Creed brought up an interesting idea. Well, first of all, I don't agree with Jeff Creed on this one. Jalen Phillips is not a bust. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Thank you.
God, no. That's a terrible take, Jeff. Terrible.
Like,
I know you're just trying to get a reaction out of us or something.
Well,
terrible.
yeah, it's successful, but this one is actually a little bit more plausible. Trade Mike Gesicki and Teddy Bridgewater. I know for a fact that the Dallas Cowboys, they're in a little bit of trouble right now. I know that they're really not looking to make a trade of any kind. I know they don't want to. They want to look internal. They're trying to force Dak Prescott back onto the field as soon as possible. But if there was ever a time to explore a trade for Teddy Bridgewater, now might be the time.
Yeah, I personally only like it because I hate to be this way, but I just don't think Teddy Bridgewater is very good. If I really thought that he was a really good backup quarterback, I would be like, no way. But because I'm not sure that Teddy Bridgewater is really much better, than Skyler, I'm okay with it.
That presence still looms large, Ron. It's crazy that this kid out of nowhere from the 7th round is just like this ominous force in the back of the roster, just like everybody makes everybody wonder about the possibilities.
Oh, of course. You do wonder. You wonder about the possibilities, and it's safer to not trade him, obviously, because Teddy has the experience a lot more. But I mean, pretending that Teddy's this really good quarterback, the dude's been on 6 teams in 5 years.
But really, a lot of that's because of the injury.
Don't go on 6 teams in 5 years. But a lot
of that has been because of the injury. If you can't play, then why are they going to keep you? So that does have a lot to why.
How many teams have had the chance to make Teddy their starter and moved on to somebody else? A few, more than one, right? Hasn't he? He's been on, like beyond Minnesota. He's been in New Orleans, and they decided we'd rather have Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. He's been on Carolina, and they decided we'd rather have Sam Darnold.
And this is got Baker Mayfield.
These teams get a look at him. They're like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I feel like I know he's been on other teams too. Maybe the Giants for a little bit. I can't remember. So I just don't think Teddy Bridgewater. I think he had that rookie season. He was rookie of the year, and he's still living off that award. I just don't even know that even before the injury, if he really would have been that good. You know what I mean? I just not bought into Teddy Bridgewater at all. So for that, I'm fine to trade him because I'm not sure that he's any better than Brissett. That's just my opinion.
And what about the Mike Gesicki thing?
No, but Gesicki's going to get his. It's just going to be matchup. That's going to be game plan specific. You're going to see, but this was Gesicki before. Even before, there would be games where the guy would just go off, and there would be games where he disappeared. And that is going to be depending on the team we play and what the game plan looks like. So I don't agree with trading Gesicki right now. We don't have any replacement for his replacement was inactive Sunday, and that's Connor. So Connor's not ready to come in and do that. Connor needs to gain a little weight and whatnot, and we need to see what we have with him this year. The Gesicki will have his games. Trust me, this just wasn't one of them.
So, but here's something I do want to bring up, and I don't necessarily need a long discussion about it, but what I would like to see is I wonder if Tua is going to get, let's say, too reliant on Tyreek Hill. Because you saw how many times they targeted him that game. Like, mind you, he was great. He was awesome. He was able to make plays. But you can't get so keyed in on one guy that you ignore everybody else. One catch for 1 yard. Jalen Waddle. Like, I thought he was going to have a breakout game. And for the first half, he was basically invisible for the most part, except for that 1 4th and 7. Because all the looks were going to Tyreek Hill.
I'm not sure what it was in New England's game plan because I'm not a guy who sits there and watches film again and figures out, what defense were they running? How were they guarding Hill? But whatever it was, if their plan was we're going to try and take away Tyreek Hill, They didn't do a very good job of it. But Tyreek Hill is just, I mean, the guy, is he ever covered? It's a little hard not to use him, but I like it. I'll be honest with you. I like that they went and traded a boatload of picks and paid a boatload of money for a new toy, and then didn't decide to throw it to their old toys from last year, Gesicki and Waddle, the whole time. I like that they did that. It's like they brought this guy in, they threw the ball a bunch to him. Good. That's what you should do. And I think, again, it's going to be very game plan specific. I think we'll just see a lot of different things happening. I guess my biggest concern right now with the offense is we got to just be able to run the ball better.
Yeah, that's what Cap for Life is. He's calling me out on the carpet here. He's still waiting for that running game because I was.
I am too.
Yeah, the run game will work. The run game will work. Don't worry, it'll work. And
yeah, I am too.
Still waiting.
I am too. I'm still waiting. I just don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. Is it going to take this year realizing, okay, a couple of these linemen ain't the guys. We need to find better guys. Or is it just going to be a matter of, Mike McDaniel spoke about how 4 guys could be blocking perfectly and 1 guy's a little off and it blows up the play. And that happened multiple times. All right, well then, so he was probably a lot talking about Eichenberg. And we heard a lot during camp that if Eichenberg was going to struggle, he was struggling in run blocking. That run blocking was an issue. And it seems that's still an issue. That's not going away. Oh, Ron needs to wake up. Take the sunglasses off and look at what I'm saying. We need a bell cow right now. Yeah, no, I'm not. San Fran, that offense had produced running backs just out of nowhere with scheme and blocking, not a bell cow running back. I'd love to have one, but I don't know that there's one available.
His previous discussion was trade Mike Gesicki and Teddy Bridgewater for Tony Pollard.
They're not going to do that because they're probably going to keep Tony Pollard around a little bit longer and boot Zeke. Everybody thinks that all these players that are good on other teams are just available to trade.
You know what I was shocked by?
That's not how it works.
You know what I was shocked? I thought he was up the creek, but apparently not. Saquon Barkley. When did he get his lights turned back on?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been good, but last
year he was terrible.
But let's see how long it lasts. I mean, that team, I know that they pulled one out against Tennessee. I'm still not a believer in the Giants or anything.
No, yeah,
many teams, just as many people probably aren't a believer outside of Miami, aren't a believer in Miami just because they beat New England, right? I'm not a believer in the Giants and that team's just going to have it together because they got DeBoll and they beat the Titans, who probably aren't all that great this year.
I mean, Tannehill looked pretty good, all things considered. The only time Tannehill looks bad is in the playoffs for some reason. That's the only time he like everything just shuts down for him. In the regular season, he's fantastic.
Well, as Dolphins fans, we wouldn't know how he looks in the playoffs.
This is true.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish we could have seen what could have been if we had a decent coach in the Tannehill era. But anyway, I digress. All right. This is probably going to be the last tweet that we get to for this show, and then we can actually get into the actual Ravens stuff. From Joseph Bentley, defense is good once again. Tua is good, but a few poor decisions. Things to work on both sides of the ball, but a win is a win, especially against the Patriots' first game of the season. It can't be overstated. A divisional win against New England, it's always going to put them really in a good spot. I think it was Alfredo who said that because of tiebreakers and whatnot, if the season ended today, I think we'd be the number 1 seed in the playoffs, which is even in a hypothetical sense, is still incredible to think of. But yeah, the defense was fantastic with a few hiccups here and there because there's always going to be hiccups. I think they need to practice tackling some more again.
It's rust from not doing it. You know, we're not the Detroit Lions. We're not tackling people to the ground and bashing them in practice. It's just
that's the Dan Campbell. Can we have Dan Campbell, the defensive coordinator, instead of the tight ends guy?
Yeah.
like destroy them.
Yeah, he feels like it. For an offensive guy, he sure does feel like a defensive guy, right?
Yeah, right. It's like he loves to pound people. It's like you would think that.
Yeah, but I like what Mike McDaniel said that this. In our journey for the season, this should hopefully be the worst game we play. And hopefully the Baltimore game will be the second worst game we play, right? Like we want to see progression. Of course, yeah. They did a good job. They won the game. That's the most important part. They played pretty well for the most part. They have a lot to clean up on offense. They have some stuff to clean up on defense. And let's see what happens. The stretch of the next 3 is just brutal, though. Man, the NFL did not spare us at all.
No, they want to see Tua fail too. They want
I guess
everybody.
so.
Like, no, he's getting too good. Stop it. We're all gonna look bad. And then Dan Orlovsky's gonna come walking in here like this. I told you so. They want to avoid that with every fiber of their being. I'm telling you now. All right. So let's actually get into the Ravens talk. So Ravens, of course, they're down one of their better corners. They're down to cornerbacks 1, 4, 5, and 6, I'm told. They're down to their third string left tackle. Kenyon Drake is now officially their starter at running back. So make of that what you will. I still to this day feel like Kenyon Drake is underrated by the NFL because I know he can be a playmaker. I don't know why he keeps getting the shaft. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's because he can't block, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, blocking has always been an issue for Drake, even at Bama.
So maybe that's the reason why Kenyon Drake doesn't get more looks, but it's not like he's a bad player. He's just not considered starter material for whatever reason.
And he wasn't at Bama either. You know what I mean? He was that secondary guy. So when you're putting in, he's never.
Well, who is the starter? Derrick Henry?
Yes, Henry. He's never proven that he can.
You're not going to beat Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I get that, but he's never proven that he can be an every down guy. He doesn't block well. So if he's their starting running back, I think hopefully then, and if he's their starting running back and we're going to zero blitz the whole day, I might need to rethink what my pick was. And even though I said it in the OnlyFans chat, maybe I need to rethink that, but I don't know. I'm still kind of leaning towards, I think Baltimore's probably going to edge us out on this. But if we're going to zero blitz all day and he's one of the ones that's going to have to go in and try and block a guy, like the Ravens will be in trouble. And then what you could do is if you zero blitz a lot at the beginning, then they're just going to have to, well, crap, we can't have Kenyon Drake in there. Right? To put in the next guy, which perhaps will limit them in what they want to go on offense. So that might help. So maybe that will be the plan at the beginning of the game, even though that was what we did the entire last game last year, 35 times, zero blitz. Maybe they just do that and say, yeah, you're not going to be able to use Drake because that guy can't block.
I'm trying to see who is the next guy anyway. Okay, J.K. Dobbins, I guess he's down. Kenyon Drake is their starter. Mike Davis and Justice Hill. Those are the only other running backs they have on the roster.
Yeah, they've had running back issues at health in their running back core now for a couple years in a row. That's definitely hurt them.
All right, so here's Alfredo. My pick is on Thursday on 3 yards per carry, but the spoiler, showdown for AFC supremacy, is in week 3. Okay. So I'm assuming he's referring to the Dolphins and the Bengals, which
no, week 3 is Buffalo, us and Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. Okay.
Yeah, Buffalo. We play Buffalo week 3 in Miami. We play Cincy week 4 on a Thursday night.
That's the Thursday night game. Okay. All right.
He was saying that his pick official pick will be on Thursday on the 3 yards per carry podcast, I believe is what Alf was saying.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of teams, like they'll try to go away from what worked the first time to try to throw the other team off. Me personally, if I saw it work once against Lamar Jackson, against a team that has even worse than last year's, if we're being perfectly honest, especially with all the injury problems, if it worked last time, I'm just going to do it again. Like, why not? Give me a reason not to. It's like, Lamar Jackson could not cope with having 8 guys coming after him at once. I'd do it again. Why not?
Yeah, we'll see. Towards the end of the game, he started to kind of figure it out a little bit, but it was kind of too little too late at that point. They started to figure out, okay, here's what we can do. Here's the throw you need. Here's the routes we need to run and the throws you need to make. They just do this just with timing. If they zero blitz and actually send everybody. So I think I'd like to see more zero blitz looks where maybe they don't actually send all 7.
So a lot of the things that we were doing against New England, basically, it's like like a blitz, but then we drop back.
Yeah, because I don't know that we zero blitz. Actually, would we send everybody actually one time against New England?
I know, right? But I
think we were nervous because I think we felt like probably felt like it was possible that Mac Jones could handle it better, and he probably showed on film that he could handle it better last year. I mean, we played them twice last year. So we'll see. I mean, we went after Lamar so hard in that Thursday night game, but I don't know if that was just out of, oh my God, how are we going to stop this guy? Let's just zero blitz the whole time. If it was that kind of attitude, if there was something in his game and in the Ravens game that we saw that, we're going to zero blitz because A, B, C, D. I'm not really sure what their reason was last time, but it'd be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, I think that Ravens are going to be more prepared for it this time. So, Carlos asks, which wide receiver scares you from the Ravens? None of them scare me. Absolutely not. It's another game where I'm not super concerned about Byron Jones being out. Now, Buffalo and Cincy in week 3 and 4, a little concerned. But
yeah. And Matthias brought up Mark Andrews, and Carlos is answering back that Mark Andrews is not a wide receiver. He's a tight end. But Mark Andrews is a very effective weapon.
He's their number one passing threat.
Essentially, yeah. But and the funny thing, like, I was so sure. Remember I said that my underrated player for the game was going to be Eric Rowe? He wasn't even active.
No, he was injured. He had the injured pec. I don't know. I'm hoping he'll be back.
He was hurt?
He was hurt. He had a pec. I think it was an injured pec. I'm pretty sure. He had a pec injury going into Sunday, and they just ended up not playing him. So we were actually down 2 cornerbacks, plus Needham was a little banged up with quad in the finger. So, the Patriots just weren't able to. Baltimore's going to be able to take more advantage of that, even though the receivers are probably kind of subpar. I don't know. New England, they have a much better quarterback than New England has.
Well, I don't know, man. We got ourselves a Sith Lord on the defense now.
And what do they call him? Darth Cater.
Darth Cater.
Yeah, somebody said it right at the same time. Yeah, that was special. He was rated the number 1 rookie. Right. We always love the ratings of all these entities. Mostly it's PFF, right? We always love them when they rate our guys high and crap on them when they rate our guys low. I'm not even sure who rated or ranked the rookies, but Darth Cater got the number 1 ranking of all the rookies, either AFC or NFL. I wasn't sure which.
There's something there.
He played a fantastic game. I mean, how exciting is that to find another possible diamond in the rough on the defense? Every time you can do that at any position, it just allows you to go draft guys that are more allows you to go draft defensive and offensive linemen with some of your higher picks, right? And keep those trenches, because you don't normally find those golden nuggets as much in the lower rounds and undrafted guys as you do as when we do find defensive backs and wide receivers and things like that. So every time we find one, I just love it.
Every time we find a cornerback that is actually good in the bottom rounds or in the undrafted, it just makes up a little bit more for the Noah Benogany pick. Just a little bit. It takes some of the sting away.
I mean, what can we say? I mean, we talked about Iggy a ton going in, over during the summer, right? Or during preseason. So we might as well finish that up now, right? Eric Rowe was out. Byron Jones was out. And Needham had 2 injuries. And we were facing a set of wide receivers that just really weren't anything spectacular or special. Decent, but nothing special. If Iggy going into year 3 can't get even on the active roster under that circumstance, I'm just not sure when he will. No, I don't really know what the circumstance looks like that has them activate him and actually play him. I don't. Now you have Darth Cater, right? I just don't know. I mean, will Iggy even see the active roster this year? It kind of feels like something went really wrong for that to happen. I know Mike McDaniel said, it's matchup based. I don't know if I like you, Mike, but I don't know if I believe you. I'll be honest with you. I just don't know if I believe you.
No, it's like I said it straight up. If Sam and Pat cannot get something out of this kid, he's a lost cause. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd be better off going back to wide receiver, which is what he did back before he transitioned to corner. Like, why did he transition to corner? Seriously, I would like to know that.
I would assume Auburn. That's where they saw him. I guess I don't know.
They ruined his career. They probably ruined his career then.
Maybe I don't know.
It's like doggone it, man. How cruel. All right, so. Let's go ahead and there's Alfredo. Noah is a bad special teams player. Alf, real quick though, Justin Bethel's a great special teams player. Yes, acknowledge. That's why they brought him in. What is Noah not bad at? Name me one thing that Noah is not bad at.
He can be physical with guys at the line of scrimmage if he doesn't get burned. He can be physical with guys at the line of scrimmage, but in the NFL, I think he just got away with a lot in college with that. I mean, he would just out physical guys in college, even in the SEC, but
fine. He wants to be physical. Make him Brandon Jones' backup.
Yeah, he would just out physical guys, but his technique is terrible. It's just terrible. And in the NFL, You can't be a cornerback and have terrible technique, even if you're a super physical player. And that's just, I mean, we see the same thing from this guy every single year. I don't know. Luckily, we have other cornerbacks. We have a lot of good cornerbacks, and we'll be getting Byron Jones back eventually. So luckily for us, it doesn't hurt our team. It would have just been nicer to have a different player there. You know what I mean? That bell cow running back that I forget what his name was talking about.
That's Cap for life. We can't forget Cap for life.
All right, Cap for life. That bell cow running back. Our opportunity to draft that guy was when we drafted when we drafted Noah. Unfortunately, but bygones.
All right, so we're an hour in. Let's just go ahead and make our picks. Let's do the same thing we did last week. Overrated, underrated, MVP, and then score. Go ahead, Ron.
I still don't understand what you mean by I don't understand the game we're playing still. What do you mean by underrated?
The guy who go first? Okay, so my underrated player. This is the guy where I say we don't think he's going to do a lot, but he might surprise us. That's what I mean when I say underrated.
Oh, okay. So a guy that you don't see, like, maybe he's not.
Like, for instance, you picked Melvin Ingram. It's like you didn't think he was going to do a lot, but then he ended up doing a lot after all.
Yeah. No, I said that I thought he would do a lot. That's why I picked him as like a breakout guy, but nobody else really saw that
that's
coming.
what I'm saying. That's like nobody sees this coming. Like,
I can't say Melvin Ingram again because I already said that. Now people see it coming, so he's not quote unquote underrated anymore. Okay, I've got a guy for underrated. Now, I understand, but I'm gonna still let you go first.
All right. So my guy for underrated, I think it's gonna be Raheem Mostert. I think after we saw what Chase Edmonds did, and Raheem Mostert, for the most part, he was the one who was able to. For the few times that he did run the ball, let me pull up the box score real quick because it's difficult to remember all these numbers off the top of my head. I'm not a football encyclopedia like our friend Brandon Ligori, who was running for the Finn Maniacs for a while. It's like I can't do that. I don't know how he does it. Like, I keep looking, it's like, how do you remember these guys' shoe sizes? And it's just off the top of his head. I'm very jealous of his knowledge on that front. But
maybe he has an eidetic memory just for football.
No, wouldn't that be something, man? Like,
but just for football, nothing else.
But you know what? Still, though, you can make a living doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, you could. You could be like another Warren Sharp, or really, you know, who has that is what's the guy who? I mean, I know he's on ESPN. We don't like talk about that channel. What's the guy that's for years has done the draft stuff? Oh, Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper?
Mel Kiper, to me, feels like a guy who's just really awesome at memorizing people's height, weight, speed, and 40 time. You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Yeah, don't trust him for anything else. All right, so I got the numbers here. So Chase Edmonds, he carried the ball 12 times, got 25 yards. So that's averaging 2.1 yards a carry. His longest run was for 7 yards. Oof. Mostert, on the other hand, 5 carries, 16 yards, which, granted, that's not
way
a whole
below
lot.
His average.
It's way below his average.
Didn't he have one for like 9 or something?
He actually ran for an 11-yard run once.
Yeah, exactly. So
granted,
then he had 4 for 5 yards.
Yeah, so
the rest of the time.
He averaged 3.2 yards a carry, which, again, that's not good. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like between him and Edmonds, I think the Mostert might actually have more success running the ball than Edmonds will. So I think that if they really want to run the ball more, I think they might end up giving it to Mostert a little bit more. And I think that he might actually surprise us against Baltimore. That's just my opinion on that.
Okay.
All right. My overrated player. So this one I feel like is going to be a little bit tougher, but I think I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Cedric Wilson. He was invisible pretty much in the first game. Like, he didn't do much of anything. He ran one ball for 8 yards, and then he caught 2 for 20, which, granted, that's pretty good. He averaged 10 yards per catch, but that's only 2 catches. So whether you will or not, I think Tua is really looking more for his running backs, and then Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Those are basically the 3 guys that he's looking for. So Cedric Wilson, he's already starting to feel like he might be the forgotten man in this offense, along with Mike Gesicki, just because maybe it's matchups, maybe it's because you can't have everybody on the field at once. But I feel like Wilson's not going to do as much as we're hoping he will. And then finally, my MVP, I'm sorry, I'm going to steal the obvious one for you, Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
I'm going to steal Tyreek Hill from you. Listen, it's pretty obvious straight up. that Tua already trusts the heck out of Tyreek Hill. He might actually end up wanting Tyreek more than Jalen Waddle, which I wonder if Jalen's going to be like, dude, you and I were buddies last year. What the heck happened? Well, Tyreek. It's like, I wonder if that's going to happen. But anyway, Tyreek Hill, once again, he's going to be like the star of the offense. I hope he doesn't run the offense like he did last week, because again, I want the ball to be spread around. I don't want it to be so focused in on one guy that everybody else gets ignored. But let's be clear, the best weapon is Tyreek by a long shot, and he's going to get more than enough as far as looks. Basically, whatever his prize picks is for receptions, go ahead and pick the over on that.
I wonder what it would be. I wonder if it's well, I'm going to say, do they do those at like 0.5? Do they do the 0.5 on the prize picks? I would guess that his over under is 8.5. That's my guess.
I can look it up right now. I can actually pull that up right now. I can actually try to see how many receptions.
So while you do that, I'll make my picks for this. All right. So I think that the underrated guy, the guy who's going to get way more than people are expecting, because everybody's just like, okay, why do we have this guy? Let's trade him. Gesicki. I think Gesicki's going to have a good game this game. I think he's going to get way more play. I even could see him getting a touchdown. So I like Gesicki in this game. My MVP for this game, that's tough. I think Holland. I think Holland's going to have like a really like a marquee game. I mean,
you think he might end up chasing around Lamar Jackson a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I just think he's going to have a. Like, I mean, did you see him like controlling? Like, was anybody watching on some of these plays, just watching Holland, like at pre-snap, right? Like once the game starts. But I was watching Holland a lot pre-snap, and it was just, man, the guy's in charge of the defense. The guy's making the calls. He's putting everybody where they need to be. He's doing the hand signals. He's all over the place pre-snap. Man, it is like really awesome. I mean, that guy is in charge out there. I mean, that's a new wrinkle, really, if you think about it. Like, who was really, quote unquote, in charge of the defense last year? I'm sure somebody could tell me, and I don't know who. Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention, but just felt like Holland he just has second-year guy, and it's just like, that's his defense. You know what I mean? Yeah, X is the best player on the defense, but that's Holland's defense. Like, he's the one that they're looking to get everybody in the right spot. And he doesn't seem to have any issue doing that whatsoever. Like, I mean, he's coming up to the line of scrimmage to see what they're doing so he can tell people where to go pre-snap. I mean, that guy is special. I think he's going to have some kind of marquee game in here.
I mean, he was named the team captain for a reason.
And then who's going to kind of disappear? Let's see. Who's going to kind of just disappear that you would think, oh, he's going to be really good. Maybe this is cheating, and it's a little, it's kind of a dirty pick. I'm going to say
I picked Tyreek from you. I'm
going to say Darth Cater doesn't have like that standout game this time where he's super noticeable like he did last time. That's kind of cheating, picking an undrafted free agent that popped.
I mean, listen, I feel like I cheated more. I cheated more because I picked Tyreek Hill. Like, I picked Tyreek Hill. That's obvious.
Yeah. So those would be my three. Gesicki, who's going to do good where people don't think he would. MVP Holland, and Darth Cater maybe isn't really the standout guy that we saw last time. Those are my picks.
All right, and what's your score? Who's gonna win this thing?
I'm really sorry, guys, but I got Baltimore 20-17.
All right,
I hope they prove me wrong. I'd be happy to come on this show next Tuesday, and everybody can just shove it in my face. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick somebody other than Baltimore, just because, again, it's right now. Do I dare? Because my head is saying Baltimore, but my heart is saying that the Dolphins can make Lamar Jackson look awful like they did last year.
If they can make him look awful, I think we could be good. But here's my issue right now with the running game, and here's beyond some of the technique issues and the blocking. Let's put that aside for a second. We've heard Mike McDaniel multiple times throughout preseason, and then even with New England, he seems I think he's a little bit surprised. Let's not say frustrated. I think he's a little surprised that a team that has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that the defense is like, we're going to sell out to stop the run. So until he can figure out how to throw them off of that, and I mean literally, I don't mean throw them off their game, but I mean literally throw them off of that by Tua going ham on somebody, on a team or two. I think that's what he's going to see. And I don't know that this defense or this offense is going to be as dynamic as it could be without running the ball the way he wants to run it and doing all the concepts on the run that he wants to do. I think that's where, again, I don't want to say his frustration. I think his surprise. I've watched every second of every interview I can, every press availability of Mike McDaniel. And I'm always trying to kind of pick up anything that I notice he would say multiple times. And that's been one of them. Oh yeah. When he talked about it with the Eagles, he talked about it with the Bucks, like the Bucks, especially. He's like, man, I was just really surprised. But then he kind of mentioned it with New England, hey, they were really just, they were really clogging up to stop the run. And I think I would guess that he's surprised by that because he's probably thinking, well, if I was a defensive coordinator and I got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I'm not selling out to stop the run. I got to stop these guys from killing me. But until Tua can really go nuts, right, on them, in which 274 yards and one trip to the red zone and 8 tries isn't going nuts. Sorry, guys. It's just not. And 1 touchdown. That's not what we need. We need a game or two where the passing game, I won't just say Tua, where the passing game is elite. And so the next team's like, okay, well, if we try and do what the last 2 teams did or whatever, we're going to get crushed over the top by Tyreek Hill. They have to get them to loosen up that pass defense. They're just that run defense. I mean, they're going to have to get the next team to do it. And I'm just not going to believe in the running game until they can do that. And I think that's the way they're going to have to do it.
I hear everything you're saying, and I'm going to ignore you.
Okay, that's good.
I'm going to do it.
I hope I'm so wrong.
I'm going to do it.
So wrong. Don't worry.
I'm going to do it.
That.
I'm
not like a football X's and O's analyst guy. I'm
picking Miami. I'm gonna pick Miami.
Good,
I'm gonna pick Miami to win this game.
Pick Baltimore.
I'm gonna pick Miami to win. I'm gonna pick them to win 24-21 with Jason Sanders kicking the game-winning field goal with good old Thomas Morstead holding that punt and Sanders drilling it right down the middle, 50 yards out. That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be back and forth. It's gonna be tough on both sides of the ball for a while. Somebody's gonna break free for a big play, either on defense or on offense. It's gonna be really close to the last possible second. Somebody on defense does something amazing to Lamar Jackson. Tua gets them within field goal range, and the Dolphins win. That's what I'm predicting. And I hope to God that I'm right.
I'll take it, man. I hope so. I'll take it. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
All right, so that's my prediction, and I will be back on Saturday with Behind Enemy Lines, where I will be interviewing somebody who is well acquainted with the Baltimore Ravens side of things. And so,
you got anybody in line yet?
I do actually, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get them on. I just need to work out some last minute details. Alfredo saying,
"Is it Harbaugh?" It's Harbaugh, right?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Damn. Okay. Are you sure it's not Harbaugh?
No, it's not Harbaugh.
Not even a chat. Okay.
Alfredo says that the Ravens starting left tackle Ronnie Stanley might play if he practices first game action in a year. Well, listen, even if it's first game action, Ronnie Stanley coming off of whatever rust he has is still a lot better than the third string left tackle. So if their guy doesn't play, then that's going to make things a lot easier for they're going to make things a lot easier for Jalen Phillips.
Was Stanley, who Baltimore drafted the same year we drafted Tunzel, as Tunzel was coming down the board, and everybody thought, okay, Baltimore's taking Tunzel right here, and they took Stanley instead.
Yes,
I mean, that hasn't ended up being a bad pick either. I just remember that.
Ronnie's
name.
Ronnie Stanley's solid. Like that.
Did he play for Notre Dame? Do I have that right? I'm not great with that. I feel like he did, but anyway, it should be interesting. I mean, I hate to be this way.
You were right, Notre Dame.
Right. I hope he doesn't play. I hope they're playing their third string left tackle.
No, Jalen Phillips would be feasting against their third string left tackle.
I think a concern for us is that if Austin Jackson's out and Greg Little is playing,
you heard Al. Greg Little actually looked the best of all.
He did, but that's not the issue. Greg Little at right tackle is not the issue for me. The issue for me becomes they probably call up Coleman to be the swing tackle. And that's where I get nervous.
Larnell
because if
Coleman.
TA goes out,
Nah,
it's
bro.
not
Listen,
Little going in there.
Listen, no, that's not what they're. No.
It's Coleman.
They're gonna
that's who they'll call up.
They're gonna do what they did last time. They're gonna put Robert Jones at right guard, and they're gonna kick Robert Hunt out to right tackle. That's what they're gonna do.
No, I think they'll bring up Coleman to be the swing tackle. Let's see if I'm right. I'm a little nervous about that.
If they make Larnell Coleman come into this game, they have guards. They still have Michael Dieter. They can put him at guard, and I feel better about having Robert Hunt at right tackle than I would having Coleman at right tackle. I'm sorry. No freaking way. I would rather have another guard come up and kick Hunt out to tackle than let Larnell Coleman go anywhere near these Patriots.
I'm not saying this is what I want them to. Just not saying this is what I want them to do or what I think they should do. I'm just giving you my opinion of what I think they will do.
Ugh.
I think they'll call up Coleman, and he'll be the swing tackle. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right or not. I don't know.
All right. So we ran long, and that's saying something.
It's because Manny wasn't here telling us 5 minutes, guys. I gotta get going. That's why Manny's not here.
You guys need to know Manny is always in the back of this show telling us 5 minutes, guys. Wrap it up. Let's
5
go.
minutes, wrap it up. I got other crap to do. That's why I knew when we got on here. It's like if I actually had internet, I was like, well, this will be a long show without Manny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, we should probably wrap it up sooner than we have, but because it's really supposed to be about an hour show. Actually, it used to be we were going to do a 30-minute show. That was last year, right?
Yeah, but I know we talk too much. That's just how we are.
No, an hour show's good. I like it. We only go once a week, so and I think an hour is fair.
All right. So thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate you hanging on with us for this long. And once again, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and head over to prizepicks.com. They are the daily fantasy sports that can help you out to make some big time gains. I got some. I finally won one, guys. Tom Brady over half a yard. And thanks to Javon Hall and Xavier Howard, I finally managed to win my prop over at prizepicks.com. All you have to do is you can just go to prizepicks.com, choose the over, the under on their fantasy point projections. I got an interception out of Mac Jones. Thank you so much. That's $100 in my pocket, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up to PrizePicks using the promo code 5. That's FIVE. Again, they will match that $100 initial deposit when you sign up. That is prizepicks.com, proud sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time on the Pulse of Fins Nation. Make sure you tune in because 3 yards per carry is going to be coming up on Thursday. We're going to have pregame on Sunday. We're going to have Behind Enemy Lines with my show on Saturday. So much Dolphins content all for you right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Good night.